99% of men over 60 are silently losing their ability to perform, and no one is warning them why. Not their primary doctor, not their cardiologist, not even their own urologist. But here's the brutal truth. The real reason your erections are weaker, shorter, and less reliable isn't just age. It's something far more fixable. And with just 3 minutes a day, you can begin to change it, starting today. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a board-certified urologist and professor of men's health with over 30 years of experience helping men reclaim their confidence, their vitality, and their most personal form of dignity. And I want to talk to you, not as a doctor with a white coat, but as someone who's guided thousands of men just like you back to their strongest self. Because here's the paradox most men never hear. What if the key to a stronger, fuller, more responsive erection isn't found in a pill or pump, but in a tiny group of muscles you've likely never trained in your entire life? Muscles that sit quietly beneath your pelvis, but control everything from firmness to climax to bladder control. And in this video, I'm going to walk you step by step through a 3-minute daily exercise that strengthens those exact muscles, helping you restore hardness, improve blood flow, and finally take back control in the bedroom. Without drugs, devices, or dangerous side effects. But before I show you how it works, you need to understand the science behind it and the 5 biggest mistakes most men make that can completely ruin their progress. Stay with me, because this next part could change everything. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Just tap that button and turn on the bell, so you never miss another men's health tip designed specifically for men over 60. And if you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and let me know how I can better serve you. Your feedback helps shape every video I create. Let's begin with the real reason so many men over 60 experience weaker, shorter, and less dependable erections. It's not just aging. It's what's happening inside your body, specifically in your blood vessels, nerves, and muscles. And understanding this is the first step toward reclaiming your strength. 1. The real cause of weak erections after 60. When a man reaches his 60s, the changes in his body can be both subtle and frustratingly obvious, especially when it comes to intimacy. One of the most common complaints I hear from my patients is, "Doctor, things just aren't the same down there anymore." And I get it. You're not imagining it. Erections become softer, slower to arrive, and harder to maintain. But here's what most men don't know. Aging isn't the main culprit. The real cause lies much deeper, inside your circulatory system, your nerves, and the muscles you've probably never even heard of. As we age, blood vessels lose elasticity. They don't expand as easily, which means less blood flow to the penis when you need it most. At the same time, nerve endings become less sensitive. The signals that used to fire quickly and powerfully now travel slower, or sometimes not at all. On top of that, testosterone, the hormone that fuels your drive, may be on the decline, further impacting performance. But here's the most overlooked piece of the puzzle: your pelvic floor muscles. These are the muscles that support your erections by trapping blood inside the penis, maintaining hardness during arousal. If these muscles weaken, and they do with age, your ability to stay firm naturally declines. I've seen this time and time again. Men blame their heart, their hormones, or their age, when in reality, no one's ever told them that their foundation, the literal muscular base of their sexual function, has been ignored for decades. But the good news is, this is something you can fix. Strengthening these forgotten muscles can improve blood flow, control, and even sensation. So if you've felt embarrassed, confused, or helpless about what's happening to your body, I want you to know there is a clear, proven path forward. And it begins not with a pill, but with a powerful part of your body you've likely never trained. In the next few minutes, I'll introduce you to it and show you exactly how to activate it. This might be the part no one has ever told you, but should have. 2. Meet the hidden muscle that controls your erections. I'll never forget the look on one of my patients' faces. He was in his early 70s, had been married for over 40 years, and he came into my office frustrated and defeated. "Doc," he said, I still have the desire, I just don't have the strength. What shocked him most wasn't what I prescribed, but what I showed him on a model of the male anatomy. I pointed to a small but powerful group of muscles buried deep in the pelvis. These, I told him, are the muscles that control your erections, and you've probably never even heard of them. They're called the pelvic floor muscles, specifically the bulbocavernosus and ischiocavernosus muscles. These muscles don't get talked about much, not by doctors, not in the gym, and certainly not in everyday conversation, but they play a critical role in your ability to achieve and maintain an erection. When you become aroused, blood flows into the spongy chambers of your penis. That blood has to stay there to create a firm, lasting erection. And what keeps it there, what literally clamps down and prevents it from leaking out, is your pelvic floor. When these muscles are strong, they act like a natural valve system. They trap blood efficiently, support firmness, and contribute to control during climax. But when they're weak, as they often are in men over 60, they can't do their job. Blood escapes, the erection fades, and frustration follows. The truly powerful part? These muscles can be trained. Just like your biceps or your heart, your pelvic floor responds to targeted exercise. And once you wake them up, you'll feel the difference, not just physically, but emotionally. Because when you know your body is working with you, not against you, that confidence starts to return. Now that you've met the muscle, it's time to activate it. Coming up next, I'll walk you through a simple 3-minute routine I give to nearly every man in my practice. It requires no equipment, no gym, and no one even has to know you're doing it, but the effects, they speak for themselves. 3. The 3-minute daily routine. Step-by-step instructions. Most men are surprised when I tell them this routine takes just 3 minutes a day. They expect something complicated or awkward, but once I explain how simple it is and how powerful the results can be, they're relieved. I remember one man, around 68, who looked at me and said, 3 minutes? That's all? I spend more time tying my shoes. We both laughed, but he walked out of my office that day with a brand new sense of hope. This routine is built around one goal: to strengthen the pelvic floor muscles that support your erection. These are small muscles, but don't let that fool you. They control some of the most important aspects of your sexual function. And just like any muscle, they respond to consistent, focused training. It starts with what I call the slow hold. You gently contract the pelvic floor muscles, almost like you're trying to stop the flow of urine midstream. Hold that contraction for 5 seconds, then fully relax for another 5 seconds. That relaxation is just as important as the contraction. Repeat this for about a minute. Then we move into the quick flicks, short, rapid contractions. You tighten, release, like flicking a light switch. This builds reflexes and speed, which are essential for strong, spontaneous erections. Do this for another minute. Finally, we end with endurance holds. Contract those muscles and hold for as long as you comfortably can. Start with 10 to 15 seconds, then release. Repeat this 3 to 4 times. You can do this seated, lying down, even while watching TV. No one around you will know, but inside, you're rewiring your system, restoring strength and control you thought was lost. One man told me after 2 weeks, I didn't just feel a difference, my wife did too. But how does this simple movement create such a powerful effect? What's happening under the surface, inside your blood vessels and nerves, that makes this routine so effective? In the next section, I'll explain the science that most men have never been told, and it just might change how you view your body forever. 4. The science behind why it works. When I explain to my patients why this routine is so effective, many of them are amazed, not because it's complicated, but because no one ever told them how their own body actually works. One gentleman in his mid-60s told me, "Doc, I've been chasing pills for years. I wish someone had just explained this to me earlier." And I hear that all the time. Because the truth is, once you understand the internal mechanics of an erection, everything about this routine makes sense. An erection isn't just about desire, it's about blood flow, nerve function, and what we call venous occlusion. When you become aroused, your brain sends signals through nerves to relax the arteries that feed the penis. This allows blood to rush into the erectile chambers, expanding and firming the tissue. But getting the blood in is only half the battle. In order to stay firm, that blood has to be trapped, held in place by pressure, and that's where your pelvic floor muscles come in. The bulbocavernosus and ischiocavernosus muscles act like clamps. When they contract, they compress the veins that would normally drain blood away. That process, called venous occlusion, is absolutely essential for maintaining a strong erection. Without it, blood leaks out and you lose firmness. On top of that, these muscles also help with ejaculation control and even contribute to the intensity of orgasm. But it doesn't stop there. As you strengthen these muscles, you're also improving the sensitivity and responsiveness of the nerves in that region. Think of it like fine-tuning an instrument. Every signal becomes clearer, every response faster. That's why so many men report not only harder erections, but better sensation and confidence overall. Still, as powerful as this all sounds, it's important to realize this is just one part of the bigger picture, because the benefits of pelvic floor training reach far beyond the bedroom. In the next section, I'll show you how this small effort impacts areas of your life you probably never connected to your erections, but should have. 5. Additional health benefits beyond erections. The first time one of my patients came back after 2 weeks of pelvic floor training, he didn't talk about his erections at all. He leaned in and said, "Doctor, I stopped dribbling after I pee. That might not sound like a big deal, but it makes me feel like I'm not losing control of my body anymore." That moment stuck with me, because it reminded me of something very important. This isn't just about sex. It's about dignity, confidence, and quality of life. When your pelvic floor muscles get stronger, they don't just improve blood flow and firmness. They give you back control in ways most men over 60 assume they've permanently lost. Struggling with frequent urges to urinate? Waking up 2-3 times a night to rush to the bathroom? That's often the result of weakened pelvic support. As the muscles grow weak, they lose the ability to properly support the bladder and regulate its pressure. But as those same muscles are retrained, many men report fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom, less urgency, and more freedom during the day. Even more surprising to some is the impact on ejaculation. These muscles play a role in the timing and strength of climax. Stronger muscles can help you last longer and give you greater control when things heat up. And it doesn't stop there. Better muscle tone can also enhance the intensity of orgasm itself. Some men describe it as feeling more complete, more connected, and more satisfying, like they're experiencing their body again, not just going through the motions. What begins as a simple 3-minute habit ends up touching almost every part of your life: your bathroom habits, your confidence, your connection with your partner. That's why I call this the most overlooked foundation of men's health. But like any good tool, it only works if you use it correctly. Coming up next, I'll walk you through the 5 most common mistakes men make when trying to do this exercise, and how to avoid sabotaging your own progress without even realizing it. 5 common mistakes that ruin your results. After introducing this routine to hundreds of men in my practice, I've noticed something consistent. Some guys feel a difference within 2 weeks, while others tell me, "Doc, I don't think it's working." When I dig a little deeper, it's almost always because they're unknowingly making one or more critical mistakes. And trust me, it's not because they're lazy or doing anything wrong on purpose. It's simply because no one ever showed them how to do it the right way. The first mistake is bearing down instead of lifting up. It's subtle, but important. When you contract your pelvic floor, it should feel like you're gently pulling the muscles upward, as if stopping the flow of urine. Many men mistakenly push downward, like straining during a bowel movement, and that can actually weaken the muscles over time. The second mistake is holding your breath. When you do that, you increase pressure in your abdomen, which works against the muscles you're trying to strengthen. Instead, keep your breathing calm and steady throughout the routine. The third mistake is engaging the wrong muscles. If you feel your abs, buttocks, or thighs tightening, you're not isolating the pelvic floor correctly. This isn't a full-body workout. It's small, precise, and internal. Fourth, some men overdo it. They think more reps must equal faster results, but overtraining these muscles can lead to fatigue, tension, or even discomfort. 3 minutes a day is enough. Let your body adapt gradually. And finally, the fifth mistake is inconsistency. Like any habit, this only works if you do it regularly. Skipping days or being half-hearted will stall your progress. Correcting these mistakes can make the difference between giving up and transforming your strength, control, and confidence. And while this exercise is powerful, it's not a cure-all for everything. In the next section, we'll talk about when it's time to go beyond exercise and the signs that something deeper may need a doctor's attention. 7. When to see a doctor. I believe deeply in the power of this 3-minute routine. I've seen it change lives, restore intimacy, rebuild confidence, and bring men back to feeling like themselves again. But as much as I want every man to benefit from these exercises, I also have to be honest. Sometimes, pelvic floor training alone isn't enough. And knowing when to ask for help can be just as important as taking action on your own. If you've been doing the routine consistently for several weeks and haven't noticed any improvement, or worse, if your symptoms are getting more severe, it's time to speak with your doctor. I've had patients come in after struggling in silence for months, even years, because they were embarrassed or afraid. But the truth is, some erectile issues are signs of deeper medical conditions, like heart disease, diabetes, low testosterone, or even nerve damage. For example, if you're experiencing complete erectile failure with no response to stimulation, persistent pain in your pelvis, numbness in the groin or legs, or significant changes in urination, these could be red flags. Ignoring them doesn't make them go away. In fact, early detection of underlying issues can not only save your sex life, it can save your life. I always tell my patients, taking care of your health, especially the parts we often don't talk about, is not a weakness, it's courage. And being proactive is the best gift you can give to yourself and the people who love you. You deserve to feel strong, connected, and alive, not just in your body, but in your relationships and your sense of self. So now that you understand how this simple daily habit can change everything and when to seek medical support if needed, let's bring it all together. In the final part of this video, I'll share how to turn this exercise into a long-term lifestyle shift, and why even a few minutes a day could be the beginning of something far greater than you ever expected. Conclusion. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this, it's that your body hasn't given up on you, and neither should you. What we've talked about today might seem simple on the surface. A 3-minute daily exercise, done quietly, without equipment, in the privacy of your own home. But behind that simplicity is real science, real results, and real hope. You've learned how age affects your erections, not just from hormones, but from blood flow, nerve sensitivity, and muscle tone. You've met the pelvic floor muscles, the unsung heroes that hold the key to firmness, control, and lasting power. You've learned the exact steps of the routine, why it works, the benefits it brings beyond the bedroom, the mistakes to avoid, and when to seek expert help if something feels off. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even late 80s turn things around with nothing more than knowledge, consistency, and a little guidance. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about owning your health and claiming the strength that's still inside you. I hope you feel encouraged. I hope you feel ready. And most of all, I hope you believe, because you deserve to. Now, if this video helped you, take a second to like it, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. And tell me in the comments, what else would you like to learn about your health? I read every word, and your voice helps shape what I create next. Until then, stay strong, stay curious, and take good care of yourself.